So welcome to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel. My name's Connor. I'm joined today by Zuri Reed. Zuri, how are you doing today?
Good. Connor, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, it's very cold here in the UK. Imagine it's kind of cold for you, right where you are in New York.
In New York City, absolutely. Yeah, it's
For
getting a little
sure.
cold.
Yeah. I suppose people will know you, or at least coming up. You're in National Treasure: Edge of History for Disney Plus. That comes out about a month from when we're recording this. And I suppose, well, I guess before that or any other project, like how did your journey in acting first start?
Um, let's see. Well, my very first job was The Lion King on Broadway. It was kind
Okay.
of like a long shot. I was just a regular kid, but my mom knew that I was like super dramatic, and
Yeah.
I had all of the roles in my school plays and my church plays. So she took me to New York because I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised,
Sure.
um, to an open call audition. There were like 700 kids, and they picked me out of all of them, which is kind of
Mm,
nuts still. So it's kind of where it began, and I've just been doing it ever since.
absolutely. Yeah. And I know I've talked to people who've like grown up in Los Angeles, for instance, and they say kind of being in that proximity almost like influenced them to go into acting because they were surrounded by it. Would you say there's
Yeah.
a similar kind of vibe in New York? If you kind of grow up there, is it very present? Could that happen?
Sure, yeah, but I didn't grow up in New York.
Yeah,
I live
well, yeah,
now.
of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it was still new to me, like the transition from Philly to New York.
Yeah, of
Had
course.
to sometimes I wish I grew up here because maybe it would have been easier, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of where I come from, and Philly is my home.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I know in terms of National Treasure, it continues on from, I believe it's a trilogy of films with Nicolas Cage in the mid to late 2000s.
Two of them. Yeah,
Was there, was it only two?
yeah, there's two.
Wow, fair play. Okay, well, I just invented the third film out of nowhere, but I guess I'll roll with that. But yeah, okay, so two films. And I suppose like, what can people who watched those films expect from this series?
I think if you are a fan of the films, then you'll definitely be a fan of the series as well.
Mm,
We keep a lot of the same elements. National Treasure was very adventurous and it was funny, and just like a world that you would have wanted to be in, like because it was just that
yeah,
fast pace. So because we have the same writers and producers as the movies, they were really great about keeping that national treasure, you know,
yeah, for
that
sure.
that the films produced. So I think we did a pretty good job at keeping what people loved best about them.
For sure, yeah. And I suppose, assuming someone who hasn't seen the films, like how would you describe the premise to them?
Of the films.
Or like, because obviously, would you say having watched the films would be like, you need to watch the films to watch this show? Like, it's like an overall like premise
Hmm.
involved, or can you
That's a good
separate them, I
question.
guess?
There are lots of connections to the
Yeah,
films, but you don't absolutely have to watch the film to watch the series. You know,
yeah.
we follows a different group of people. There
Mm,
is um, a different treasure. We're in a different location. National Treasure, the films had a lot to do with Philly, the city that
yeah,
I'm from, and lots of
sure.
like DC, but
Mm,
we filmed in Baton Rouge, which also has a lot of history. I didn't really know that prior to filming there, but come to find out there was lots and lots to explore there. So I think
mm.
you don't absolutely have to be a fan already. We do a great job of introducing this new story and these new characters that I think people will love.
For sure, yeah, and I know like a couple of people who are in the films are coming back to do the series, right? I know where Justin Bartha's one of them,
Kristen
Harvey
Bartha,
Keitel, I believe, as well. And
I can tell. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose I believe like or how early on did your cast know that there'd be that potential of some of the original cast members coming back?
I don't really think we knew. It was kind of like a surprise thing.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, we are all fans of the films. So that was kind of like their surprise for us, I guess, like the fact that we were able to work with some of the OGs from the
Yeah.
franchise, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, is that kind of a nice kind of connecting thing? Because obviously, if you just had been making your series, and obviously you knew the films existed, but no one
Yeah.
from them had been in the series, would that have made a bit of a different vibe? Obviously, I know you can't speak to if you worked much with either of them, but like, was it kind of like I mean, did it change having did them being there kind of change how you approach the series? I
It
guess
was
is what I'm asking.
definitely, it was very surreal. It made you want to like really just step up because you
Yeah,
know that these people have killed these films already.
yeah,
The fact that we are the new faces of the franchise, you know, it was just like a really full circle moment that meant a lot to us to be able to work with people who created the foundation for us to even be in this position now, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know another name in the cast who's actually a fellow Brit from my perspective, but Catherine Zeta-Jones. And like, again, like I don't know how much you would have worked with her directly, but like I suppose having her on board, like how was that?
Well, Catherine is awesome.
Mm,
She's so awesome. She's very welcoming, very professional, very funny too. I think
mm,
not a lot of people know that. But yeah, she was awesome. And again, working with her, you know, it all helped to make the project what it is. And so, you
mm,
know, amazing. We were able to work with some amazing people, even our writers, Marianne
mm.
and Cormac, Wibberley and Jerry Bruckheimer producing, and you know Rick Maragi. They're just all truly amazing. We had a great team.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I always love asking actors when I interview them, like whether they're similar to their characters at all. Like, do you kind of connect to your character in any way, or are you very different?
I do. Tasha, you know, so funny auditioning for this project. I really don't think that I had ever auditioned for something that was so much like me before. Like I was
Okay, cool.
praying that they
Mm,
cast me because I didn't really have to work too hard initially.
mm,
Afterwards, her vocabulary is very extensive. She's a very smart woman.
mm.
So I had to dip into the dictionary some for her, you know,
Right.
but
Yeah.
she's awesome. I think that we have lots of similarities, how down she is for her friends, and just such a leader. I think, yeah, she's great. And we have lots
Mm.
of similarities for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was wondering back when you were auditioning for the role, like did they release kind of all the information about the character and what the show was going to be, or were they kind of
Yeah.
secretive or confidential about it?
Yeah, I think we were able to read the pilot at first, like
Okay.
just get a general understanding, you know,
Mm.
which is always very helpful. Um, yeah, and that helped with the
Mm.
process for sure.
Yeah. Now,
Mhm.
I've definitely heard from like doing interviews of people kind of having a fake name given initially, and I've had somebody like
Yeah,
while on the Zoom say, I'm going to dig out the fake name I got given, and just kind of show me
exactly.
how the difference." And but
Yeah,
yeah, so obviously you knew everything you needed to know while auditioning.
for the
Then
most part. Yeah,
yeah, okay.
there were some things that changed along the line later down the road, like some different names, even somebody that is close to Tasha that has a lot to do with the person that she is
Mm.
was originally someone else in the first script that I read, and then it became something else that I won't share now, but you
Mm.
know, yeah, so a few differences.
Absolutely. And actually, a while ago, maybe about 2 years ago, I interviewed Jake, who's on your show, Jake Austin Walker, because he was in a show called Stargirl at the time. I interviewed him for that, and obviously, having interviewed him and got a little bit of what he's like what was your experience of working with Jake?
Oh my goodness, Jake is amazing.
Mm,
Jake is literally like my brother. We are all very close. You know, one
mm,
of the things that I asked the Wiz when we were wrapping the show,
yeah.
how did you know casting this that we would all become best friends?
Mm,
And I think Marianne said we didn't know. We just chose the best people for the roles, and you guys just so happened to be amazing with each other. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't always happen that way. So we were all very, very blessed to just be welcomed into this family, really.
Mm.
We were together for months in a location that we weren't familiar with at all, and we're able to make a family out of it, and then also do the work.
Mm. Yeah, and I suppose for Tasha, because we haven't really covered this angle, but how does she play into the story? Like, what kind of draws her into being involved?
Well, Tasha is Jess's best friend,
Okay.
roommate for years.
Mm.
Tasha is also a really big social media star.
Mm.
She runs a platform where she teaches her audience on internet privacy.
Yeah.
She always thinks that somebody is listening. She's very, very
Mm.
careful in that way. She is a whiz at hacking and cracking codes, and every good treasure hunt needs that person to break
Yeah.
those walls, right? So that's kind of where Tasha comes in. At first, she isn't 100% for it.
Mm.
Her just have some different beliefs when it comes to the government and the FBI, but eventually she's just like, if it's going to help my girl, if it's going to help us find this treasure that we don't even truly know exists, but
Mm.
if it makes you happy, it makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the films are just distant enough in the past. Like, if someone like Tasha had been in those, that would have been very out of place. It's a very kind of timely, relevant character to
Yeah,
have
it's
right now.
very, absolutely, absolutely. And I love that about this series. It keeps the same vibe, but it's years later. So
Mm.
we're able to bring in new things like social media and like new ways of hacking and just technology that we didn't really have back then that
Mm.
we have now. So, it just makes it more
Yeah.
fun.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the idea of a treasure hunt, like, paper map versus Google Maps, and it's kind of, it's pretty obvious, I think, which one nowadays you'd want to use to try and find something.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was having a conversation today. I am such an Apple Maps person.
Mm.
I don't like Google Maps for
Oh,
some
sure.
reason. Don't kill me, Google. But, yeah, I really do like Apple. I'm an Apple girl. I prefer.
For sure, yeah. I suppose, though, other than National Treasure, do you have any other kind of upcoming or recent projects you're able to talk about?
Um, last year I filmed Flatbush Misdemeanors for Showtime, which was such a special
Okay.
project for me.
Mm.
I absolutely love the cast and the writers, Kevin Iso, Dan Perlman. They are all amazing. It was a really new thing for me. I was
Mm.
able to play a character who was half Haitian, half Nigerian,
Okay.
to like tap into that culture that I didn't grow up with,
Mm.
was really, really special. And I was happy to be able to bring that to life.
For sure, and I suppose that must be kind of a really appealing thing about acting in general, kind of jumping from these different projects and like different, like different tonally, different
Yeah.
story-wise. I mean, that must be something really interesting to do.
Yeah, two very different projects for sure. And I hope to continue to be able to expand my resume
Mm.
in the future.
Yeah, I suppose just to finish off, this is the last question I have, but like going forward, do you have any goals set for yourself, whether like in acting or just kind of generally, as we move forward, just kind of anything you really want
Absolutely.
to accomplish?
Absolutely. I During the pandemic, I
Mm.
wrote and animated and casted um, an animated series
Oh,
on
amazing.
my YouTube page.
Mm.
So I really do hope in the future to be able to write and create more projects on a larger platform. And my goal is to give people opportunities that I wish that I had.
Mm.
And I think if you are in the position to be able to help someone else, then you should do that. So those are my goals.
Absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, best of luck then, obviously, with that and with National Treasure and everything going forward. And, thanks again for taking the time to speak today, and all the best. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Connor. It's a pleasure.